I think it's only fair that I don't take the heat for what you said, Jesse, and I'm not trying to be, but I'm getting people attacking my character now for having had to take the show down because you made 2 allusions to killing people. So I'm not trying to be a right now, but like I've got 500 messages of like, what you're doing, why you're taking the show down, are you with us, you're trying to make money.
So I thought YouTube took the show down.
No, I had to take the show down.
Okay.
I had to take the show down because you made 2 allusions within like the span of a couple minutes to murdering people.
Who is that man and what has he done with Tim Pool? That was incredible and honestly not expected at all. But nonetheless, you just watched Tim Pool basically tell his guest, a guy named Jesse Kelly, to basically tone down his violent rhetoric. But as Pool is about to explain, this isn't a new problem. It's apparently one that he ends up dealing with quite often. So let's watch more of this interaction and then I'll fill you in on the details as we know them. Let's watch.
After I explicitly stated in the pre-show, do not make allusions to violence, then went on to explain, we keep having people come here and saying they want people killed or people should kill people or they can be killed or things like that.
Tim, yes, thank you. Look, this is all I want from Tim Pool, right? And by the way, anyone he doesn't think he's right wing, whatever, fine. I'll take that at face value, even though he says things that are kind of right wing sometimes.
So here we are on the Young Turks again, and this is Ana Kasparian of the Young Turks and Cenk Uygur talking about a Tim Pool episode, Tim Pool podcast, where he had a guest on who apparently, made references or allusions to committing violence. And of course, Tim Pool doesn't want that on his channel, certainly not on his YouTube, because you got to be careful with that kind of thing, obviously. First of all, you got to be careful not to get your video taken down. And secondly, you know, as far as I know, Tim Pool's not a wacko extremist who's calling for the violent dissolution of the country or anything like that. It was funny what Ana Kasparian here just said about him. Tim Pool, you know, being a right-winger, that's like the furthest thing. That's like the last thing I would call Tim Pool. He seems like a staunch centrist from what I can see. Anyway, let's hear what Ana Kasparian of the Young Turks has to say, and I think Cenk, of course, is going to weigh in shortly.
Any show, any independent outlet, like, please stop egging on civil war. Please stop egging on violence. We need to find a way to tone things down a little bit. People are going to disagree politically for sure, but we shouldn't be barreling toward violence where Americans literally fight one another. That would be a disaster. And so that like very strong response to Jesse Kelly is kind of incredible. And I'll get into what he allegedly said in just a moment, but Cenk, jump in.
Yeah, okay. So half credit at most. So he explains, and he's right about this. He's like, look, if you say you want to kill specific people, that is illegal. So if we put it up on a platform, including Rumble, which is very right wing, they're gonna make us take it down. There's no question about it, okay? Because they cannot allow illegal things on their platform. So don't do that because it makes me take down the show and my audience yells at me and they come up with conspiracy theories. Gee, a right winger's coming up with conspiracy theories on why you took it down. So shocking. And what does that do? That costs him money.
Good.
And he doesn't want to lose the money.
Good.
And I'm not blaming him. That makes sense. Well, you can't do. If you have to take down every show you ever did, you can't forget making money. You can't exist as a show, right? So yes, I'll give him the half credit that Anna's giving him. He's pulling that back, and I don't even I'm not even taking away too much credit because he's doing it because otherwise there is no show, right? But I'm not giving him any credit on violence overall. I mean, look at his background. There's the sword and the gun. I've been at his compound and it's complicated, and so I'll give you the nuance, but there's guns everywhere. Every wall has tons of weaponry, right? And Tim makes reference to the Civil War hundreds of times.
Okay, so we'll get to that in a moment. But look, we live in America, and whether you like it or not, people love guns. People see guns as like something that they engage in for a hobby. So like simply having guns in your background, I don't think is advocating for violence. Others might disagree, and that's your right to disagree.
I know, but Anna, hold on. So if I said he has guns in the background, hence he's definitely in favor of violence, you could make the point that you're making. But for him to be horrified that there might be a reference to a shooting when the whole place is built. I mean, like I walked out of there thinking, and they were good to me. And like, so there's the nuance. Like, it was a good conversation. I massively disagree with him on his right-wing points. We actually agreed that on corruption and how much it sucks and how much the establishment sucks on that front. So I'm not giving you a black and white view, and I'm glad they invited me. And it was interesting, and we had a little bit of sushi together and all of that, right?
Oh, look at you!
Oh my
hobnobbing
God!
with Tim Pool.
Yeah. So look, guys, I'm giving you the full picture, but at the same time, to say like, oh, I can't believe anybody who was for shooting people. There's guns everywhere.
Okay.
Well, of course, Cenk he's very anti-gun, as we know, on the Young Turks, and it is amusing to hear Ana be the voice of reason, where she said, well, come on, this is America. People like guns, or a lot of people do like guns. You know, they collect them, they shoot them. It's baked into the founding of the country, whether or not you agree with it. The Second Amendment is a thing, obviously. It's one of the things that makes America, America, for better or for worse. Frankly, overall, personally, I think for better. You know, I wish in the European countries we had more of a two-way history or culture, but we don't. You know, and Europe is Europe, and America is America. There's no reason they should be the same that way. So in any case, of course, Cenk is trying to be, you know, the voice of reason, as he always says he is. You know, I'm just being nuanced here. But yeah, there's a lot of guns, and you know, just he says, no, Ana, I'm not saying that just Tim Pool collecting guns means he's advocating violence, but then he is sort of implying that as he continues to talk.
Yeah, at some point, somebody, and when everybody on the right uses talking points of, oh, you got to stand up to the tyranny of government. And what do you think happens when you stand up to the tyranny of government? How do you do that? And you say, you need my guns. Well, what are you going to do with a gun? You're not going to shoot flowers out of it. You're going to shoot bullets out of it. And by the way, if they could, would they say to kill specific people? Well, they do it even when they're not allowed to.
Okay, but look, let's just get to the next video because I think it's important to understand what Jesse Kelly allegedly said. The conversation took place last Friday, and Tim Pool has edited out whatever it is that he said that was objectionable. So we don't know for sure what he said. But in the next clip, Tim Pool apparently describes what Jesse Kelly had said.
18 minutes into the show, you had made two allusions to, one was the helicopter thrown over the Pacific Ocean. That's kind of like a, we're gonna get hit for that probably, but you know, we'll see what happens. But then you said you can go kill the human smugglers for all I care, and it's.
So I'm guessing that they were talking about immigration when the questionable remarks were made by Jesse Kelly. Look.
Jesus, that was hardly, yeah, a lot. I think a lot of people would agree with those sentiments. Yeah, kill human smugglers. And no, that's not illegal to do that. Now, maybe YouTube doesn't like it as a platform, but it's certainly not illegal. The precedent, the case law on that in the United States is very clear. You can absolutely say things like that. Now, whether YouTube likes it or not, that's something else, of course. And let's see if I bet the Young Turks now are going to try and say that he's, you know, especially Cenk is probably going to say something like, oh, you see, he's talking about murdering specific people. No, he didn't, not at all.
Look, the other thing that I don't think you're giving him enough credit on, and look, people are gonna get mad at me for giving Tim Pool too much credit. Go ahead, get mad at me. You can at me as much as you want. He is making this statement to Jesse Kelly's face on his show. He didn't pull him aside and have like a quiet talk with him. He wanted to make a statement, and he made a statement in a very public way. So it wasn't just a statement to Jesse Kelly, it was kind of a statement to anyone else who comes on his show and advocates for violence.
It's, again, at best half credit, and I'll tell you why. Because, no, but Ana, hold on.
Okay.
So because he said right there, my fans are yelling at me, and I want to clarify, it's not me, it's him. So, yeah, he's saying it publicly because otherwise his fans are going to have conspiracy theories about how he's now working with Mr. Google and has married Mrs. YouTube. And that's when they took it down together, when otherwise they would have had a nice orgiastic violence fest, and it's all Tim's fault. So he's saying it's not my fault, it's that guy's fault, and it's the platform's fault. So that's why he's saying it publicly. And I would argue, and again, I've agreed with Tim Pool on some things, and I'm open to those conversations, but on the issue of violence, I think Ana's going to show you the tweets here. I think what Tim's saying is be more subtle. Like, don't say you're gonna kill specific people because that's illegal. Say, oh, wouldn't it be amazing or terrible if we all killed each other like in a giant civil war?
Yeah, so he does tweet and talk about civil war quite a bit. So here is a collection of tweets from Tim Pool. I don't even think this is all of them, where he mentions civil war. Some of these tweets are worse than others. Let me give you a few examples. Let's put this up. Let's put this graphic up. So it's hard to read on the screen, but I'll read a few of them for you. The very last one says, "Yep, that's it, civil war. They refuse to back down. They're actually insane." And there's a lot of like, oh, they did something bad to our preferred politicians, namely Donald Trump, and as a result, civil war. This is inching us closer to civil war. Like,
come on, Tim, you're telling me that doesn't egg people on to do something about it violently?
I just want him to stop with that, okay?
Wow, people on Twitter mentioning civil war. What a shocker. I like how they show Tim Pool's tweets, but of course his tweets are reactions to other people's tweets, right? So they didn't show what he was reacting to. You know, it's just complete nonsense. I'll give credit to Ana in this clip for more or less being the voice of reason. Cenk is just being his usual nonsensical self. Nobody called for killing anybody in particular, specifically. Nobody did that. There's no right-wing conspiracy theory. Yes, we understand, Cenk. You're a leftist. You don't like right-wingers. We get it. You don't like guns. We get it. You're a progressive. We get it. But yeah, they're being a bit over the top here, as usual, as we have come to expect from the Young Turks. Ana showing part of, you know, her change. She is being, if anybody's being nuanced here, it's Ana, and showing a bit of restraint. But that's the Young Turks for you. You know what to expect. Anyway, if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. Really helps me grow the channel and helps me keep making content for you.